What is going on, everyone? This is Andrew O'Connell with Pristine Capital coming at you with yet another market recap video. It is February 18th, 2021. Please like this video and subscribe to my channel if you enjoy this content, and I will continue to make it for you. Today we're going to be talking about the price action, the headline indices. We're going to go under the hood and check out our sectors and style factors as we always do. We will take a look at some of the trades that I put on today, and then we'll wrap up with some options order flow. But before we jump in, quick risk disclaimer, as always, nothing in this video should be construed as investment advice or recommendations. Please follow your own trading plan, your own risk parameters, and last but not least, do not YOLO your entire account into any one of my trades. All right, so let's jump in and let's take a look at these markets. So we're going to jump right in. First of all, the Pristine Capital trading service is live, and we are going to be launching our long-term trend portfolio next week. So I'm putting that together this week. I have a rough draft of it. It is in a file, and then starting next week, I'm going to be investing in all of those securities in real time and rebalancing that portfolio probably every 2 weeks or so. But the goal of that program is to, with my trading account, I can be very nimble. I can flip from long to short. I can trade options, etc., etc. With the long-term trend portfolio, it's really about finding, stocks, sector ETFs, whatever it might be, that look like they have a long tailwind behind them that I really just want to essentially buy and hold for the time being until that trend breaks. So more to come on that. And if you're interested in signing up for the service, my email is right here. It's andrewoconnell@pristinecapital.net. All right, so with that being said, let's jump into the price action. Because this has been, OPEX week, as I always talk about. A lot of times there is a lot of back and forth choppiness in the markets. And you can see that is definitely what we are getting here. If you look at these candles, we're just getting these super long lower wicks and then wicks on the upper end as well. So, you can tell there's a lot of chop there. For today, we had the S&P 500 closing down 0.43%. We had the NASDAQ QQQ down 0.44%. We had the IWM small caps down 1.55%. And we had the Dow Jones down 0.33%. And let's dive in. As you can see right here, we are trading below this 5-day exponential moving average, but we are still above the 20-day simple moving average and this monthly value area high. So as of right now, the trend is still up, but I would definitely say there's some turbulence and there's some reasons to be a little bit more cautious. So if we dive into this hourly chart right here, let's take a look. Yeah, so you can see this is some very topsy-turvy price action right here. Just give me one sec while this loads. While my toss tries to quit on me here. Okay, there we go. All right. So if we take a look at this, you can see we hit our high several days ago at about 39.60 on the S&P 500. Then you can see we took a little bit of a dive earlier this week, and we dipped into this weekly value area. And you can see this was yesterday's price action. We pushed into that weekly value area, but we kept having these long lower wicks, meaning there were dip buyers coming in to support the market. You can see this downward price action is occurring on pretty high relative volume. Yesterday, we got a bounce out of this weekly value area, and we tagged this 39.33 level, but then we just dove right back into it. So as you can see, it looks as though we are forming, what looks like a short-term downtrend here. So I'm actually going to mark these off. And we can just use the ray for now. Yeah, so you can sort of see here we have what looks like it could be the beginning of this downtrend. So this is definitely just something to be cognizant of. This S&P 500, we're going to have to see how, what the price action looks like tomorrow. I would definitely want to see the markets make, rather than these lower highs, I would love to see a higher high. So you can see for today's price action, we dipped below this weekly value area. And I was talking about this earlier, saying this was an awesome little shakeout here, to get some of those weak hands out of the market. We ended up having some dip buyers come in, but we could not really push out of this weekly value area. And you can see we kind of stalled out at around 39.15. So we'll have to see, what the river brings in terms of the price action tomorrow. And really depending on that action tomorrow, that is going to determine, if I decide to take off, just a lot of risk from my portfolio and really step out of the way of this market. So we'll have to see what happens. Let's take a look. We're going to pull up our VVIX and our VIX. Let's take a look. So we have our VVIX here. Yeah, and this is the hourly chart for VVIX. Let's pull up the daily chart. So this is actually a pretty good sign right here. So you can see the VVIX, yesterday put in more of like a doji candle, so like more of like an indecisive day. Today we closed much closer to the lows for the day. So that is looking like an encouraging sign, but at the end of the day, the VVIX is really just trending sideways for the past couple days. And then we'll take a quick look at the VIX. The VIX, you can see, really not even moving up all that much. So you can see pretty much every day it's having a big spike, shaking a bunch of people out, and then it ends up coming in, and it's not really trending much higher. So really what I'm seeing, from if we put together like the S&P 500 price action, the VIX action, the VVIX action, it's just very choppy. We're getting these episodes of, okay, the market's dipping lower, then we're bouncing back. So it's definitely a bit of a more ambiguous environment. Then we'll take a look. The IWM actually got hit the hardest today. So if we look at this IWM, in the grand scheme, this is like a pretty, not really that significant of a pullback. This is really just a pullback to the 20-day simple moving average. So you can see here we're below that 5-day EMA, and it looks like we might be in the ballpark of tagging the 20-day. And let's not forget, we did tag the 20-day and actually cut below it a couple of weeks ago when we had what I call the GameStop financial crisis. So we'll definitely just have to see what happens here. But it got a nice pullback in the small caps. For a while, it really looked like these small caps were just going to keep running and running and running. Now it looks like that momentum is stalling out just a little bit. Then let's see here, the Qs performed very similar to the SPY. So the Qs, again, really just pulling back to that 20-day simple moving average. So in the grand scheme, this pullback, for the most part, could be a very good thing where we're just sort of refreshing. There might be some profit taking, and that could set us up for the next leg higher. But definitely, for the next few trading days, I'll just be watching out to see what happens with this price action. All right, so that about does it for the headline indices. Let's take a look under the hood, and we will check out our sectors and style factors. All right, so let's take a look here. All right, so this sector sheet is completely bloody. So you can see, even though like the S&P 500 only closed down 0.44%, which is really not that much in the grand scheme. But if you look at a lot of these really popular sectors, they all took a pretty sizable hit. So this YOLO ETF, which was at one point our leader in terms of sector momentum, took a 4% hit today. You can see that move down several notches on our momentum list. You can see the KWEB ETF down 2.78%. I actually placed a couple of trades in KWEB today, and it was actually awesome for me that it did go down a little bit. That helped me out because I had a butterfly on in KWEB. Let's see what else we have. Yeah, these ARK funds are kind of under pressure. And then the outperformers today, we had consumer discretionary outperforming, and we had utilities outperforming. So, yeah, when utilities are your outperformer, that is definitely pretty ambiguous right there. And definitely a bit of a more, you can tell things are a little bit more defensive. People are piling into the utilities. So if we look at our style factors, you can see very similar story. We had the high beta ETF down 1.68%. And let's see what else we had. Yeah, and then cyclicals down 1.55%. But the only style factor that was green was our min-vol style factor. So yeah, it definitely looks like some defensive positioning going on. Let's take a look. We will take a look at some of the trades for today. Yeah, and today really what I was trying to do is, as we hit sort of like the lows of the day, my goal was to pick up some very high quality assets. And then at the same time, I had some assets that were really not working for me at all. So for those, I was like, let me just stop out of this, or, close this trade out, just to reset the deck. Because especially if the market is weak, like I don't want to be in like a weak asset in a weak market. So for those, just have to trim those out. Let's see. Yeah, in the morning, I took a target on my KWEB butterfly, closed a large portion of it out, for essentially a scratch. I took a target, much higher on this one. I got long some GDRX common stock. That was pretty much towards the lows of the day. I have a slight gain in this position, but we'll have to see if this one wants to move higher. If we take a look at GoodRx, this one, yeah, you can see GoodRx is forming a really nice and clean pullback to that 20-day simple moving average. So for me, this is definitely a name I want to hold for the longer term. So we'll see what happens. Likely for this one, I'll be trading against that 20-day simple moving average. And then we have, what else here? Oh yeah, this was a cool one. So I got long a call spread in NVDA. And this one definitely stood out to me because what I'm looking for when the market is a little bit weak is I want to see like, okay, what are these institutions actually allocating to? And the first thing that jumped out in terms of the options order flow and really the price action was NVIDIA. So I ended up entering the 590 by 600 call spread in NVIDIA when it was trading around like 585. So luckily this one, moving in the money pretty quickly. This one ended up pushing up throughout the rest of the trading day, formed a nice green candle, still closed down 0.52%, but now my call spread is at least partially, in the money. So we'll see what happens with that one. Let's see. So we took that NVIDIA call spread. Sono was a trade. I just closed it out for a scratch, really just to reduce some exposure. And Sono looks like it's a little bit overextended, so just wanted to take that one in. GoGo is a common stock that just really did not work for me. Entered it the other day and took my stop on that one today. SSYS was another one that just completely puked. Yeah, I noticed a lot of the names that I traffic in, like a lot of these high growth names, those are the ones that are really selling off the most here. So if we take a look, SSYS, this is one of the 3D printing companies. Yeah, this one completely broke down from that 20-day simple moving average. So in a name like this one, it's really breaking its trend. I would much rather just close out of the position, reallocate to something else, or just keep it in cash. So yeah, took a stop order on that one. Oh yeah, and then I had a Roku call spread that I took a target in. I actually closed that position out. Yes, this was a call spread I put on maybe like a couple weeks ago, my 410 by 420 call spread, closed that out for about $7.57, and I paid $4.12 for that one. Yeah, and Roku reported earnings after the bell, and the earnings were really strong, and I believe Roku is trading up in the after hours. So yeah, that about does it for my trades. Let's take a look at this options order flow. Yeah, and we can look at NVIDIA, because that was definitely one that really stood out. And that's the reason why I took that call spread, really. So let's pull it up. Yeah, so take a look at this. Everybody was coming after NVIDIA today. So usually this is a name that I don't really see much order flow in. And you can see, from 1038 onward, we had an order for 1.5 million. This one for 3 million here. Another one towards the close. Yeah, it looks like everyone was trying to buy the dip in NVIDIA. And these semiconductors, really just as a whole, this is definitely one of my favorite sectors for the time being. So if you look at the SOX ETF, yeah, this one you can see it's in a very bullish trend, and we are finally getting the pullback. So that's one thing, like this sector kind of broke out, and it was like, oh my gosh, I don't want to chase it. I don't want to chase the highs, etc. But now that we're getting this pullback, I'm like, okay, let me jump into one of the highest quality names in the space. And I'll be looking, there's another name, one of our members is long MRVL. This is another really high quality name that I do traffic in. And this one you can see is getting supported by this monthly value area low here. This one tagged the 50-day simple moving average. So this one I'll likely look to, if the market shows some strength tomorrow. But that about does it for this market recap video. Hope you all had a great trading day, and I will see you all tomorrow.